I want to ask you something. Have you ever been in conversation with someone and they're telling you, I'm great, I'm fine, I'm good, but there's something underneath you're detecting, that you're sensing, that you're feeling, that's telling you this person is not all right, they're not good, they're not fine. There's something else to this story. It's almost like there's a gap between what you are actually receiving and what somebody is trying to portray to you. A lot of people would just brush it off. A lot of people would just take people at face value, or even think that they're projecting, which, could be the case. This is nuanced. But what if you actually weren't projecting? And what if you were actually feeling something that was genuinely there and coming from them and not you? Here's what I know to be true, and I want to talk you through it today. Empaths have psychic ability, not in that kind of I see dead people kind of way, in that Hollywood-esque sort of way, but in a very real, very specific way that most of us have been using our entire lives without realizing what it actually is. And this aspect of psychic ability is clairsentience, which is clear feeling. If you're an empath, you most definitely have this within you. And the question isn't like whether you have this ability, it's do you know that you're using it? And can you read what's coming through with enough clarity that you can actually trust it? So that's what this video is about. By the end of it, I think something's going to click for you that changes how you understand yourself and what you're actually capable of. So most empaths haven't been taught to ask the question, whose feeling is this? Because yes, not every feeling that happens in your body is yours. You are picking up from the energetic field around you, the emotional content of other people's bodies around you. You're picking up from the earth beneath you. So many places you could be picking up sensations from, and they are not just your feelings. I'm sure you've had the experience when you've walked into a house or walked into a room and felt this energy that you hadn't been feeling before, but now you feel it. That is a very, very clear indication that you are picking up information. You are picking up signals from a place that has not been generated from within you. It is not yours. And we develop this ability, this capacity, when we are younger and we're not given the full story or full picture of something. And we have to actually start to sense beyond that which we're being told into the broader emotional field and start to sense things because we aren't being told the full picture. What's really important to be very clear on here is that you are a receiver of information, and you've possibly been reading this as some kind of self-generated static, and it is not. It is from the outside world. So, what is clairsentience? Clairsentience is literally, the translation is clear feeling. You may have heard the term clairvoyance, that is clear seeing. So, when it comes to being able to sense beyond the third dimension, that is one of the easiest ways to identify that you're using this sense that is not one of your five senses, sight, smell, taste, touch, etc., etc. As an empath, this channel of receiving information is wide open for you. And possibly because you've moved through the world knowing this as something innate to you, just something that is so natural, you may not actually think that it's anything special, but it is. It is you being able to read information that is not coming from the third dimension. You have been reading rooms, people, situations, places very naturally, but you probably haven't been perceiving it as such. You are able to tell when a friend is actually really down, and you might even be able to tell that from a distance. These abilities make you psychic. However, and this is the key, this is the next piece, is can you learn to read that clearly? Can you learn to separate signal from noise? So this is really what I think separates, empaths are 100% psychic able, like have psychic ability, but whether or not they can read it, whether or not they can transform that capacity into the superpower that it is the question. I have many clients and friends who have empathic capacity. They just know a thing, and like they can sense it, but they don't necessarily know that it is them reading a situation. And this is where I do a lot of work with my clients to really develop that. It's developing the signal, the capacity to read that and make it clear. And I'll cover off on how to do that, how to do that next. But the challenge is in reading accurately without the information that you're receiving getting filtered through so many frames and lenses that our cultural field, that our familial upbringing, that our conditioning puts on us. For instance, taking the example from the beginning of the video, you come into connection with somebody who you sense that there's like some unease underneath their sort of fine and their platitudes and their everything's fine, this is okay, everything's okay. You sense something more is happening. Now, if you have this sense of unease, but it's possibly in relation to, let's say you know that that person is about to do something out in the world that makes you nervous, right? So it could be public speaking, could be a job interview, could be whatever, right? Say that they're about to do something and you are feeling unease. Are you feeling unease because you're nervous for them? Or are you genuinely picking up on their uneasiness or their nervousness, right? There could be a little bit of, there could be a little bit of static there that is self-generated. So here's how to really clear up that reading of the signal. Now, when you come into contact with some information, if it feels like a neutral piece of information, so you're receiving from somebody, oh, okay, there's some unease around something, or there's something underneath what they're communicating. If it's neutral for you, if you don't have any kind of sensation of trigger, sensation of charge, there's no charge in your system, then it's very possible that you are reading that situation accurately, that there is something that you're naming that does exist that's not being given to you on the surface level. So this is you receiving information rather than reacting personally to a perception that you have, right? Now this can sound like complicated, but over time, with practice, you get better and better at it. Now, the trusting of your ability to read is not something that you decide, it's something that you actually earn. You earn it through establishing a track record with yourself. So, the way you start to build trust and start to actually build the capacity to read a field and become psychic through this reading with your clairsentience, with your clear feeling, is that when you start noticing your impressions and you start to allow yourself to receive without immediately dismissing it or sort of saying that it must be something that you're overanalyzing or that it's your own projection, just note it down, write it down, and then pay attention to what unfolds. Or if you're with somebody that you trust, you can share your insights with them, share what you're sensing, and see if you're accurate. You may not be accurate at that point in time, but the more that you actually record yourself, so whether that's writing it down and then noting and seeing what unfolds over time, or sharing it with that person, sharing your insights and being like, am I picking up on something that is true for you or is it not true for you? You start to create this muscle within yourself, this intuitive muscle that begins to build and build and build. And over time, the pattern really becomes undeniable. You will start to have this quiet knowing about a situation, and you will trust it. You will trust that knowing. And as your trust begins to build, your channel becomes clearer. And there's less interference, there's more precision, there's more of a rapid read of a situation, and this growing ability to receive these impressions that are really genuinely useful, not just in your relationships and within your own communities, but you can actually start to read for people in a psychic sense. And this is a beautiful superpower that I highly recommend every empath begin to develop, so that you don't end up drowning in a sea of sensations that you think are yours, but are actually those around you, which could actually be giving you a whole heap of wisdom, a whole heap of information that you didn't previously have, and allow you to move through the world in a way that is really peaceful, in a way that is genuinely helpful, and in a way that you can contribute to the betterment of others' lives and also obviously your own. This is the gift. This is the psychic gift on the other side of really understanding your empath capacity. And it's not something that you need to manage so much as clarify, learn, and develop over time. I really hope this has helped you, and I'm sending you all so much love, and I'll see you next week. Mwah.